All right, before you get started setting up your Amazon seller account, I wanted to go over with you the two different types of Amazon seller accounts. There is a professional selling account and an individual selling account. So this really is the first decision that you'll have to make whenever you're setting up your seller account, which is why I want to go over it before you're actually going through the process, so that when you start setting up your account, you already know which one of these that you're going to choose and then how you're going to choose it as well. So Amazon seems to prefer that sellers sign up for the professional seller account from the start because they make it pretty hard to find out how not to do it. You actually have to scroll down on the screen and find this little tiny link that says to sign up for an individual seller account. So if you just click the big yellow button, that's actually going to take you to a professional selling account. So if after this lesson you decide that you want to do the individual seller account, I'll show you those two different links whenever we're going through the actual process of setting up your account. Now, there are benefits to having the professional account versus having the individual seller account, but it's not required that you do the professional account whenever you're first getting started, and it's actually not required ever. It's just something that you're going to choose based on your business needs. The professional seller account costs $39.99 a month, and it's billed up front. So if you click on choosing a professional selling account when you're first setting up your Amazon seller account, you will be billed right when your account is approved. Okay, so let's take a look at the differences between an individual account and a professional account. And this screenshot is taken right from the sign up page on the Amazon site. So you can see here that they are recommending to sign up for the professional account, but they have a comparison of individual versus professional. The first two features are available to both individual sellers and professional sellers. So that's the ability to add new products to the Amazon catalog, as well as using the FBA program. The next few features are only available to professional sellers. They are being able to list your products on the Canada and Mexico market by using just one single seller account. The next is to be able to bulk upload products and to be able to use the Amazon Marketplace web service. So I'm not going to get into too much about these features because they're really going to seem pretty overwhelming, but I do have my own list of benefits, which is things that will make a little bit more sense. So customizing your shipping rates. So this is if you're merchant fulfilling products, you can choose how much you want to charge for the shipping to the customer. So if you want to do free shipping, you can, or if you want to charge extra, you can. With an individual account, you just have to do whatever Amazon lists as the shipping rate for the customer. The next one is being able to offer special promotions and gift wrap for your products. And then the last one is being eligible for top placement on product detail pages. So you may recognize that as being called the buy box. So in order to get the buy box, you have to have a professional seller account. Now I say that, but there is a little bit of a caveat there because that really only affects you if you're a merchant fulfilled seller. By using the FBA program, you will be eligible for the buy box. So it's kind of tricky that they put that there because it makes people feel like, well, of course I want to be featured as a seller, so I have to have the professional account, but that's actually not true. So you only have to do that if you're not using the FBA program. So when I talked about doing merchant fulfill versus FBA, that was one of the features of doing FBA was you would pretty much be guaranteed a spot in the buy box as long as your price is competitive. With that individual account, if you're listing merchant fulfilled, it's very hard to get the buy box as a merchant fulfilled seller. The next thing, of course, is the price. So the professional selling account costs $39.99 per month, plus the additional selling fees that will be the same for both. If you're an individual seller, you will pay a 99-cent per transaction fee. So for every order that you sell on Amazon, you'll have a 99-cent fee. So the easy math is if you're going to be selling more than 40 items per month, it will save you money to do the professional selling account. If you plan or don't know yet to sell less than 40 items per month, then it may be better to do the 99-cent per sale transaction fee. So here are some of the other benefits, and these are my list of benefits. So first, you get access to third-party tools and services by having a pro merchant account. That's part of that Amazon Web Services thing I mentioned in the screen before. So in order to use third-party tools that need access to your account, such as Scoutify, RevSeller, repricers, and things like that, you do have to have the pro merchant account. To be able to create your own shipping templates for merchant fulfilling. So like I was mentioning before, if you want to be able to offer free shipping on merchant fulfilled products, you do need to have a professional selling account. Professional sellers are the only ones who can apply to sell in restricted categories and subcategories on Amazon. So if there's a subcategory like other toys that you want to be able to sell in, you would need to be a professional seller. Now don't worry about making a perfect decision at this time because you can upgrade or downgrade your account at any time. So once your account is set up, you'll just go to settings and then you'll go to account info. This is going to take you to the section where you can change if you want to go upgrade to a professional account or downgrade to an individual account. Once you do that, it's reflected on the next billing cycle. So if you do it right now and your billing cycle isn't for 20 days, then it's not going to change until that time has passed. So one thing about downgrading that I want to point out, or a couple of things, is that if you downgrade your account, you'll lose your ability to list in those categories that you may have already received approval in. So for example, if you get approval to sell in the subcategory of topicals and then you downgrade your account, you will lose that approval. Not so much the actual approval itself, because it will be there if you upgrade your account again, but you'll lose your ability to list those products in the category while your account is downgraded. You'll also lose access to any third-party apps or services that you've signed up for. So if you're using the Scoutify app or you're using the RevSeller app on your Chrome browser, you'll lose access to those products if you downgrade your account. Like I mentioned before about the approval, they will be made available again if and when you upgrade. Let's talk about choosing a seller name, or what you're known as on Amazon. Some people call this a seller nickname, some people call it a display name, but whatever it is, I'm going to let you know and help you decide what that name should be. So where is that name displayed on Amazon? Anytime Amazon is listing sellers, they are shown by their display name. They're never shown by their personal name, their business name, anything like that. It's whatever we decide as our seller display name or our seller nickname. So you can see here, this is from the other seller section. You can see there are 3 display names here. We have Studio KH, JCM Goods, and True's Best. You can see by these names that they don't mean anything to us as a buyer. It's just something that is unique to each seller, and it must mean something to them. For some reason, they decided to choose those names. So deciding on a display name for yourself. Your seller display name does not have to be your official business name. This is often very confusing whenever you're going through the account setup process. You do not have to use your display name. Even if you have an LLC, you do not have to use that as your display name. This can be whatever you want it to be. It can mean something to you, or it can just be something very generic. A lot of people use initials. They use their family's initials. They may use the town that they live in. They may use their favorite pet or something that means something to them. My one recommendation is just keep it professional and try not to make it have any negative connotations. So you don't want to use something like cheapest products around, because that's going to make people feel like they're getting something of less quality. Try to keep it professional, and you don't want anybody to read it and go, I don't want to buy from that person. And in the same realm, I like to keep it non-political and non-religious for those same reasons. The good news about your display name is it can be changed at any time. Many people actually spend a lot of time considering what their display name should be, and I don't recommend doing this. It's really not something that's worth stressing over. So don't make yourself feel panicky or like you're spending an hour trying to decide on that display name, really just type something in. And like I mentioned before, you can change it at any time. Now that you've chosen your display name and you've decided if you want a professional or an individual seller account on Amazon, let's go through the walkthrough of setting up your Amazon seller account. So on this one, I'm not going to do a screen share. You're just going to get screenshots of the different sections. And I'm going to try and make this kind of quick, but still give you as many details as you're going to need to go through this process. So before you get started, you need to have available that display name that you picked out, a credit card used for billing, a bank account number and routing number for direct deposit of your payments from Amazon, a phone that you have access to right then. So if you're using your cell phone, you'll just want to have it by you. And then possibly you might need your driver's license, social security card, and or your bank statements. So at the end of this video, we're going to get to a part about verifying your identity, and they may ask for any of these type of documents. So in order to start the process of signing up for an Amazon seller account, you need to go to sellercentral.amazon.com. Once you're here, you're going to see a picture similar to the one that's on my screen. This does change quite a bit. Amazon likes to change the person that they use or change the wording a little bit, but just look for the section that says register now. After you click register now, you're going to be taken to a screen with the big button that says start selling. Now you're going to notice that it says $39.99 a month plus additional selling fees or something to that effect. Now remember when I was talking about the individual selling plan versus the professional selling plan, and I said that they try to make it so that you sign up for the professional account? This is what I'm talking about. So if you scroll down to the bottom of that sign up page, that initial registration page, you'll see some sort of a little link that says sign up to become an individual seller. So this is the account where you're not going to have to pay that $39.99 a month. So they do make it kind of tricky to find that, but just make sure that you scroll down and choose sign up as an individual seller if that's what you decided. This next screen will probably look very similar to you because it looks like what you use when you're signing into your buyer account. So here's the thing. When you're signing up for your seller account, you can use the same email and password that you use for your buyer account. If you want to do that, you'll be able to switch from one account to the other without logging in or out. Personally, I have my Amazon seller account, my buyer account, my merch account, and my KDP account all in the same email and password. If you want to keep your business completely separate, you can choose create your Amazon account. So then you would need to use a different email address than the one you use for your buyer account. There's no pro or con to doing one or the other. Some people just like to have their seller account and their buyer account completely separate. Once you've chosen a login or logged in with your buyer account, you're going to go through the seller agreement. So the first thing you're going to need to do here is type in your legal name. So what is your legal name when it comes to Amazon? If you're signing up as an individual seller, it's just your full name. If you're registering a business, meaning a registered business, like an LLC or something like that, you're going to put the registered business name and your full name. So whatever your business name is legally, and then a dash and your full name. Then you're going to click to agree to Amazon's terms and conditions, and then click next. The next section is your seller information. So this is your basic business information, your business address. Then you have that display name that we talked about already in the last video. And then the next one is a totally optional section where if you're selling also from your own website, you would put that in here. So if you have a Shopify store or you sell from your own website, you can put that there. Now's where you need that cell phone or a regular landline that I was mentioning in the first screen. So here, Amazon's just going to verify your phone number. So you're going to type in your number, and then you're going to let them know if you want a phone call or a text message. Either way, they're going to send you a PIN number. It will either be an automated message or a text message with the PIN number. Once you're ready, click Text Me Now or Call Me Now if you choose that. You'll see this option here where it lets you type in your PIN and then you'll verify that number. So it will look a little bit different if you choose for them to call you versus text you, but it'll just be based on the one that you chose. Once you do that, you can click Next and you'll be taken to the billing method. Now, if you signed up for an individual selling account, then you will see a little bit different on this screen because you can see here that I have a professional selling account being set up. Yours may say individual selling account with 0 fee. So this just depends on which type of account that you're signing up for. So you're going to put in your credit card number and then the cardholder name. And now you're going to need this whether you're doing the professional account or the individual account, because this is going to be kept on file for any time that you owe Amazon money at the end of a billing cycle rather than them owing you money. And then if you need to do a different address, like your credit card address is different than your business address, you can do that, or you can use the address that was already saved. And then the next thing that you need to do is set up your bank account information. So if you've already put a bank into Amazon previously, like on your buyer account, it may already be here. Otherwise, you're going to need to click Add a new bank account. Once you do that, you can go ahead and click Next. Now this section here is for your tax information. So this is a basic W-9 that you would fill out anytime that you were doing like working for somebody and they needed a W-9. So this is all of your tax information, like you'll need your social security number, your legal name, like if you have to have money withheld from your earnings, things like that. So I'm not going to go over this one line by line because it's a basic W-9. If you've filled one out before, it will be very familiar to you. And I don't want to try and give any tax advice or let you know how to fill out this form. So I'm just going to let you do that form on your own. Once you've completed the tax information, then you'll move to the next section. So we'll go to exit interview after you've done that whole process. And then the default is that you're going to get your year-end forms, your 1099, electronically. So it's going to be available in your seller account. If you want that to be mailed to you, then you can click the button that says Change Delivery Preference. The last section of setting up your account is product information. So this has to do with the type of products that you plan to sell on Amazon. Now, since you have not yet got started selling on Amazon and you're most likely doing the retail arbitrage or online arbitrage method, you may have no idea what type of products that you're going to sell. So I'm going to go ahead and give you some of the just really general ways to fill this out. And it's not going to make a big difference if you change the type of products that you sell later. There's no repercussions or anything like that. This really has to do with how Amazon will change up your seller dashboard and different information that they give you just as learning information. So the first one, do you have UPC codes for your products? You're going to choose yes. All products sold retail arbitrage are going to have UPC codes. If you're doing private label and that's all that you plan to do, then you would choose no. Or if you plan to get UPC codes, you can put yes. But again, it really doesn't matter here. For the next one, do you own a brand? Retail arbitrage, you're going to choose no. If you're doing private label, you're going to choose yes, or some of them. Would you like to make your products available to business buyers? I always choose no. And then how many different products do you plan to list? This one, again, doesn't really matter, but I always have people put more than 500. Now, the next section is about the categories. You can simply just click skip for now, but again, this really is just going to make it so that Amazon can put in different information on your seller account regarding these different categories. So here's kind of the basics that I recommend people choose: books, home and garden, outdoors, baby products, toys, beauty, gourmet and grocery, health, and personal care. If any of those categories look really appealing to you and you want to sell in them, you can click them. And it really doesn't matter if you want to sell in the categories and you don't click it, Amazon's not going to restrict you from doing so. All right, once you've done that, the next section is your identity verification. Now, this doesn't always happen for every seller, and it's kind of confusing why it does or why it doesn't. So if this screen seems out of place, Amazon may be not asking you for it. So if it is, I'm sorry, you can just skip this section, but really it just is different for every person. So if Amazon wants further verification of your identity, then you have to go through this section here. So you're going to choose your country. So for a lot of you, it's going to be the United States. Otherwise, just choose the one that best represents where you live and then click next. So here is where you get to choose how you want to identify yourself. So there's different options in the drop-down menu. You can choose driver's license, social security number, bank account. There's like all kinds of different choices. So just click there. You can even use your passport. So just choose the one that you have easiest access to, and then you're going to put in that identifying number. Then you're going to put in your expiration date. So it is a little bit backwards to some of us. They do date of the month, then the year. So make sure that you use the format that they're giving you there. A lot of times we're used to using month, then date, then year. So if you put it in incorrectly, it will not go through at this section. Then the country, then your first, last name, and date of birth. And again, on date of birth, it's a little bit backwards. They're doing date first, then the month. Then you're going to choose the address. So if your identifier is different than what you used on your business address, then you'll need to add a different address. So that's just like if you're using one location for business, but you live at a different location, you may need to add a different address there. You just want to make sure that all of the information on whatever document that you're giving them to verify who you are matches what you're telling them right here. Then click submit. So I have a few tips for submitting your documents. This is one of the hardest parts about creating your Amazon seller account. Years ago, this was a super, super easy process, but I just want to let you know that sometimes this can be a little bit frustrating. So first, you'll want to take a picture of that document that you're using from your phone or a camera, and you want to have that document laying on a white piece of paper. It makes it much easier for Amazon to read it. You want to make sure that it is very clear and that they can read it well without having to enlarge it or anything like that. Once you've taken the picture, you want to convert that JPEG into a PDF file. If you're not sure how to do that, just Google turning JPEG into PDF. There's programs online that can do that for you, or depending on the type of computer you have, it may be just a click of a button. The next thing is you want to upload it as a PDF. And then you want to make sure that the document is very clear and it's zoomed in enough, like I mentioned before. So once you've uploaded the document that's been requested, you're either going to get an account approval, or you may see something like this where it says that they are going to need to further clarify your documents and that you'll hear from them within 2 days. So here's the thing on further verification. If your account needs further verification, which is super, super common, so don't be surprised if you see this. It doesn't mean that you won't be able to sell on Amazon. It just means that they might need more documentation. Since selling on Amazon is very popular, it's also brought on ways of people signing up for accounts under other people's names or falsifying documents, things like that. So Amazon's just being very careful with the approval process. So if you need that further verification, you may need to send Amazon a different type of a document. Often we find that Amazon doesn't notify you like they say they will within 2 days. If you don't hear from them, you can log into Seller Central, and if they have a request for new information, you'll see a notification right on that login screen. If your account has not been approved yet, there won't be anything except for the notification about what they need from you. We have some students who have gone through this process and they've had to send their documentation up to 10 times. I know, this can be very frustrating. So I'm apologizing ahead of time, and I'm really sorry if this happens to you, but just know, keep going. and you will eventually get that documentation approved. So while you're waiting for approval, like I mentioned, I know that it's frustrating while you're having to wait, but since you have this course already, I recommend that you keep moving forward in the course, and then when your account is approved, you'll be ready to hit the ground running and sourcing products and sending products into Amazon. This is just a little bit of a hill to climb, but as soon as your account is approved, you're good to go. In this video, I'm going to take you through Seller Central. This is a place you're going to spend a lot of time in your Amazon business. Pretty much anything that you're going to do on your account or within your Amazon seller account or business is going to take place within Seller Central or the Amazon Seller app as well. So to get here, you're going to go to sellercentral.amazon.com, or you can go to amazon.com, click on your account, and then click Seller. So there's multiple ways that you can get here, but this is pretty much where you're going to spend a lot of your time. So I'm just going to take you through each of the different sections. Now, depending on when you're seeing this video, it may look a little bit different than what I'm showing you here, but this will give you a good idea of what you're looking at and how these different areas can help you in your business. So once you're logged in, you're going to have this tab up here where it says Amazon Seller Central. This is always going to take you back home, right? So you're always going to be able to get to this screen here. Then we have the tabs along the top. I'm going to take you through each of these and show you what they're for. The first one, which is the most important, it's not a tab, it's just a notification, is this little flag. Right now you can see that it's gray, but if you get a notification from Amazon, meaning they have some reason they want to contact you about your account, this is going to turn red. So that means it's very important that you check to see why Amazon is trying to notify you about something on your account. This could have to do with a complaint about a product that you're selling. This could be a complaint from a brand owner. This could be a customer notification, a performance notification. There's a lot of different reasons. But if you get this, you can just click here and it's going to show you what notification it is that you need to take a look at. All right, so the first tab that we come to is the catalog tab. You can see here from the drop-down menu that you have two choices. You have add a product and complete your drafts. So add products is where you can add a product to your inventory, or you can create a new listing, and you're going to see that again in the inventory tab. And then you also have complete your drafts. Now what complete your drafts is, if you add a new product to the Amazon catalog, but you don't complete it fully, maybe you forgot to add pictures or you didn't add bullet points or something like that, it's going to go into draft mode, and then you're going to be able to come here and complete any drafts that you have. Then you have inventory, and there's quite a few different choices in the inventory drop-down. The main ones that you're going to use are the Manage Inventory and the Manage FBA Inventory. I usually just go to Manage Inventory because it shows both merchant fulfilled items and FBA items, but you can go to either one. And then you also have your Seller Fulfilled Prime. So that's a different type of merchant fulfilling. And then you have Inventory Planning, which is where they're going to tell you how many of an item they recommend that you send in. You're probably not going to use this with retail arbitrage, to be honest, but if you get into other business models, it will come in handy. And then you have add a product here again. This is where you're going to be adding products to your account, which I'll show you in the creating a shipment video. Then we have add products via upload, which is if you have a CSV file and you want to upload everything all at once, you can do that, but that's not something I teach in the course. It's really not something that a lot of retail arbitrage sellers use. Again, this is something for other business models, really. And then there's some inventory reports. Sell globally. So if you want to sign up to sell like in Canada, Mexico, or any of the EU places, you can do that here. And then manage FBA shipments, which I talk about in the shipment video. But this is where you can see all of your current and past FBA shipments. So if you want to reconcile them, that's done here. The next tab we have is the pricing tab. So this has everything to do with pricing your products that you have listed on Amazon. You can also do that from the Manage Inventory section, so from both Manage Inventory and Manage FBA Inventory, or you could just go to the pricing dashboard. You also can go to pricing alerts, which I usually ignore because this is Amazon telling you that they think your products are priced too high. I like to price my products how I want, so if Amazon says that they're too high, I'm usually going to ignore that. They also have automate pricing, which is basically Amazon's repricing system. So you can go in and you can set up your own rules, and Amazon will mark your prices up or down based on the settings you have in place. So for example, if you always want to have your products 10 cents above the buy box, you could tell Amazon that, and they would make sure that your products were always priced competitively. Then you have fee discounts. And this is where Amazon may tell you that if you sell a certain product for a different price, that they will lower their commission rate. And these would be things that you usually get an email about, but you can always check here to see if they're offering any special fee discounts to your account. Next, we have the Orders tab. So this Orders tab basically is the same as what you see here in this widget where it says your orders, but you can click here and see all of your order information. So you have Manage Orders, Order Reports, Upload Order Related Files, and then you have Manage Returns. So you're really only going to use these things here if you're doing a lot of merchant fulfilling. If you're using Fulfillment by Amazon, these reports basically are pretty much unnecessary. Then we have the Advertising tab. So if you're doing any pay-per-click advertising with Amazon, that's going to come into play within this tab. So you have your Campaign Manager, then you have Enhanced Brand Content. So this is if you're a registered brand on Amazon. Then you have your Early Reviewer Program, Lightning Deals, which is if you have a certain amount of inventory and you want to do a significant discount on that, Amazon will feature that in their Lightning Deals. Then you have coupons if you want to do any coupon codes for your products that you could either give out to people or you could do on Amazon specifically. And then promotions. A lot of times with retail arbitrage, we're not running pay-per-click product campaigns. If you want to, you can, but with retail arbitrage, this really is kind of unnecessary because we're choosing products already that are selling well, so we don't have to do campaigns for them. Then we have storefront, which really doesn't apply to us either because this is if you want to have a fully branded storefront, which we do not have. So you would actually end up signing up for one, which you would have to be approved for. So that's kind of a avoided drop-down menu. And then we have reports, which really you could spend a lot of time going through these and checking them out. The one that I recommend checking is your payments report. So this is going to give you the breakdown on Amazon fees versus how much your product sold for. So a lot of times people have questions because they'll see an amount over here in their sales summary, but then their payment summary will not be the same. And so they're like, well, where's the rest of the money? So if you go into reports and you go into the payment report, it's going to tell you exactly what came out of the money that you earned on Amazon and why your payment amount is what it is. And then you could also get to that by clicking here in the View Payment Summary within the Payments widget. Okay, then we have Amazon Selling Coach, which is going to give you information on your inventory pricing, advertisement, fulfillment, and all this can be found also within this widget here. Then we have the business reports, which I'm not going to get into all of these actual reports here, but there's a lot of good information. As you start to grow your business, you'll want to check out these reports. And then the last one is the tax document library. This is where your final tax document will come when you want to prepare your taxes. So at the end of the year, within a couple of months, and this is going to be available in your account. Then the performance tab is where you can check out your account health. So meaning if you are merchant fulfilling, it's going to show you your order defect rate. When you are using Fulfillment by Amazon, there's not a lot that's going to negatively affect your account health. But if you get any claims against your account for like intellectual property, if you have any safety claims or anything like that, that would show up in your account health. Then you have your feedback. So you're going to be able to see any customer feedback that's left for you which can also be seen here in the performance section under customer feedback. Then you have A to Z claims and chargeback claims, which are not going to apply to you if you're using Fulfillment by Amazon, because people don't do chargebacks or A to Z claims against FBA sellers. They can only be done against merchant fulfilled sellers. Then you have your performance notifications and Seller University, which is Amazon's videos to show you how to do different things within your account. The last tab that we have here is the App Store. I don't recommend spending a lot of time in here. This is just where you can find any apps that Amazon is connected with, which can be really overwhelming. So what I recommend is checking out the different apps that we recommend, because we've tested those and made sure that they work really well. And so I wouldn't spend too much time in the Discover apps, but if you're curious, there's going to be a lot of apps shown to you here. Okay, next we have up here along the top, we have the search bar, which is actually really helpful. So if you ever want to know how to do something on Amazon, or you're curious about a rule or how something works, you can just type it into the search bar, and Amazon's pretty good with the search results to help you find exactly what you're looking for. They have pages and pages and pages of documents that they've created, and they're really helpful. So you can always type here in the search results. Then you have messages. So if you are communicating with Amazon, those will go here. And then also you have help. So if you're looking for something and you need Amazon's assistance, it's pretty much automated, but you can get directly connected with Amazon, or there's a lot of things that you can do within the help section, like you can request feedback removal, you can request to change product listings. There's a lot of stuff that can be done automatically. So you just go into the help section and let them know what it is that you're looking for. And then you have settings, which we're not going to get into this because we will look at some important settings in the next video. But there are things like your account information, your login settings, your shipping settings. So you would put in your address, the type of shipping that you use, your tax settings, user permission. So if you want to add access to your account to any other person. Then we also have your information and policies, and then Fulfillment by Amazon. So if you want to set up things like Amazon to label products for you, or if you want to do commingled inventory or turn on inventory placement service, that would be there. And then account info, you could do things like turn off your Pro Merchant account or turn on your Pro Merchant account. So there's a lot of stuff here in the settings. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the rest of the dashboard, which, like I said, does change from time to time. So it may look a little bit different, but I'll tell you for the last 4 years, it's looked pretty much the same. So the first thing I'll say is that all of these, when you see this 3 dots here, you can click on those and you can collapse the widget. So if you don't want it to be cluttered, you can collapse as many or as few as you'd like. Next, everything except for this news tab here can be moved around. So you see how my cursor changes from an arrow to the 4-way arrow? So I can pick this up and drag it to another section on my screen. I just pretty much leave them how they are, but you can feel free to move them however you'd like. The orders tab here is going to show you all of your seller fulfilled orders, so your merchant fulfilled orders, and then your fulfilled by Amazon orders for the last day and the last 7 days. If you click on any of these, it will take you to your order summary, or you can click here where it says view your orders. By default, whenever you click on view your orders, it's going to show you your merchant fulfill orders, and it's going to show you nothing. And that's the same as what's showing you here. These pending orders are all for merchant fulfilled. So if you want to see if you have any pending orders on Amazon, then you could go up here to the manage orders. So you see here where it says view FBA orders, that means that this right now is showing me my merchant fulfilled orders. So if I click on view FBA orders, it's going to show me all of my Amazon FBA orders. So you can see the order status shown here is pending, and then we have one here where it shows the payment is complete. So this just will show you all the pending orders that you have. There is a lot of times a discrepancy from this fulfilled by Amazon here and the sales summary. So you can see that my sales summary for today says 1, and here it says in the last day is 2. Well, these here are the orders that have actually shipped, and these over here are the orders that have been placed. So they haven't necessarily been shipped. So if we take a look again at the orders, you'll see that I have this 1 order for today. Actually, we have 2 now. So if I refresh it, it should say 2. Yeah, so here we go. So now you see how it says 268.87, and then when I'm here, it has the 2 pending orders for today. And then this one over here, where it says in the last day 2, these are actually 2 different orders. These are the 2 orders that have shipped in the last 2 days. Once your order has shipped, then that amount will go into your balance over here in the payment summary. Before that, it's not going to show anything. So you don't actually get paid by Amazon until they ship the product. Your items can be held in pending for a few days or more. It depends on if the customer has anything that they're waiting for to be shipped with the order and for their payment to clear. So that's why there's oftentimes a discrepancy between the payment summary, the sales summary, and your order summary. So all has to do with if it's shipped or whether it's just a pending order. Okay, next we have this performance section, which is going to be the same as what you get if you were to click this performance button up here. It would just take you to a different screen. And the most important thing here is that you have the buyer messages. So if you get messages from a customer on Amazon, you do need to reply to that or mark it as no response needed. It will get emailed to you with whatever email address you have on file, but you come into here to respond to that, or you can respond to it via the email as well. And then you're just going to get notifications here on how many buyer messages you have that need to be responded to. And then if you go over the 24-hour mark, then those will show up here as well. So Amazon wants you to reply to all emails within 24 hours. So that's why they have it broken up under 24 hours and over 24 hours. So I will say that a lot of times we get messages through buyers that say maybe they don't want us to sell a product or something like that. Those should not come through buyer messages. So we usually forward those to Amazon. But I'll put that into the FAQ section. So if you get a buyer message and you're like, what is this? This isn't actually from a buyer. Then check out the FAQ section. Then we have the customer feedback, which right now yours is going to say just launched. It will say just launched until you get your first customer feedback. I will say that feedback is pretty hard to come by on Amazon. We get very few feedbacks versus orders. I found that it's probably less than 1% of all customers will actually leave feedback. So you may say just launched for a while, but don't worry because a lot of buyers don't actually pay much attention to feedback unless it says 0 stars or 1 star, because that gives them a heads up that there's something wrong. But if it says just launched, usually they don't care. Okay, if you have any cases open with Amazon, those are going to show up here in your case log. So that may mean that you're asking Amazon to check in to something for you, that you are like working on getting approvals or anything like that, that'll show up here. And then we already talked about the sales summary. And then inventory planning. This is where Amazon will show you what they recommend that you restock. And you can set this up to be different. So if you want Amazon to tell you to send 60 days worth of inventory or something like that, you can do that. But you see here they have 14 SKUs that they want me to restock. And then usually with retail arbitrage, again, this doesn't really apply because you can't just go out and buy more of the same product. If you can, then this is good because it will also tell you how many they recommend that you buy. And then you can see that also shown here where they're saying this rice that we've got 15 days worth of stock on hand and that they recommend that we send in 14 more units. So that's kind of the same thing as what you see here in the inventory planning. And then the last couple things we have the seller forums, which I kind of recommend to stay away from because they're kind of toxic. So the Amazon Bootcamp and the Selling Family members group is really good for that kind of stuff, but I highly don't recommend going into the forums. But you can just click here and view them. And then selling tools, you get a couple more options here, and these are always changing, so I won't really even mention what they are there. And then list globally. So this again is something that can be found up in the top menu, but this is if you want to add Canada, Mexico, or the EU to your account, which means that the items that you send into Amazon will also be available on the global network. All right, so that's pretty much it for Seller Central. You should have a pretty good idea now of how to go about it and the type of areas that you're going to need to get into. The first thing that you're going to be doing is going to be adding products, and you're going to have a whole video for that. Let's go over some of the Amazon seller fees. Personally, I don't mind Amazon seller fees. A lot of people are very concerned with the fees it costs to sell on Amazon, and we hear this from both new sellers and old sellers alike. They don't want to pay the fees to Amazon, or they think that the fees are too high. About once a year or so, Amazon does an adjustment on their fees, and this is when we really hear people complaining about the fees. Personally, I don't really mind paying those fees to Amazon because without them, I wouldn't have a place to sell all these products. I would still be stuck on somewhere like eBay or trying to have my own e-commerce site, and I just know how much more work that would be. So it's Amazon's playground, and I want to play on it, so I pay the fee to do that. Really, it's just a cost of doing business, and most of the fees are charged after selling your items. So it's coming right out of your profit instead of you having to pay it up front. A lot of businesses, you have to pay up front, and then anything you make after that is profit. With Amazon, those fees come right off the top, so you just kind of calculate them in anyways. So most fees are considered when you're scanning. So when you go out and you're looking for products, there's no surprises when you get done and you sell a product on how much it is that you paid in fees. So one of the reasons I don't worry too much about it is because when I'm scanning products, I'm already seeing those fees and I'm making a decision to purchase based on the net profit instead of just guessing on how much I'm going to have to pay in fees. So I'm not going to buy anything unless it's profitable after the fees. So that's why it's so important to scan products before you actually purchase them. So what does this mean? I know before selling a product exactly how much I'm going to be paying in fees. So really, to me, fees are just an afterthought. But when you're first getting started, it's going to feel like you see a lot of fees happening, especially when you've sent in a lot of products, but you haven't had a lot of sales because, unfortunately, there are a few upfront fees, which I'll cover in just a moment. The fees that are assessed outside of the individual orders are also known up front, and they can be mitigated as needed. So let's look at a breakdown of the Amazon fees and where and when they're charged. So first we have the professional seller fee. So of course this is an optional fee. That's why it's notated with the asterisk. So if you sign up for a professional seller account, this will be billed upfront and you will get it monthly for $39.99. This does not have anything to do with what products you sell. It's going to be charged regardless. The next fee is a per item transaction fee, and this is a breakdown of all of the different types of fees that go into every sale. So you have commission and handling fees, shipping fees, all of those are basically in the umbrella of per item transaction fees. We also have inbound shipping. So inbound shipping is one of the fees that's charged up front. It is calculated when you're scanning a product, but you have to pay it before those items sell because you have to pay it as soon as you send those shipments. Then we have inventory placement fees. These are one of the optional fees as well. If you're going to have all of your products sent to one warehouse, which I know we haven't quite talked about yet, but if you want to use the inventory placement service, which we'll get to at a later time, those fees are assessed right when you send the shipment as well. Then we have item prep and labeling fees. So again, this really is going to come into play when we talk about creating your Amazon shipments. But if you choose to have Amazon prep, like bag your products or label your products, that will be assessed as you send the products in and they do that prepping. So it's not after the items are sold. Then we have monthly storage fees. So every month, Amazon is going to charge a small amount for space that you're taking up at their warehouses. And then we also have long-term storage fees. If they don't sell consistently and they're not selling quickly, if you have products that are just sitting in the warehouse long-term, Amazon charges an extra fee for that. And then lastly, we have inventory removal and disposal fees. So these are if you want to have products destroyed or you want to have products sent back to you, there's a fee that goes along with those as well. So this, of course, is an optional fee. So this just has to do with if you have products and you decide you don't want them at the warehouse any longer. So if I was to go over each of these fees in full breakdown and give you the exact rates at this time, it ends up being a very, very long video because I used to have one, but it was almost an hour long. So what I decided is that I'm going to list below the current rates for each of these different fees. And then I'm going to give you links to the Amazon pages that go over each of these in more detail. So I do want to take a moment just to view what your statements will look like so that you can see what it looks like when you've sold products. Now, I know that we're just at the point where you've just created your seller account, so none of this is really important, but I just want you to remember it when you get your first statement and you've sold your first products, because you may feel like, wow, why am I not getting paid a lot? And I will do another video kind of breaking this down again for when you're seeing your first payout. But I just want to go over this quickly so that you know what to expect after you've started sending items in and when items are selling. So this is a billing statement for me, or a payment statement. And these happen every 2 weeks. So for this period, you can see that I've sold $1,975. There was $26 in promo rebates, $488 in Amazon fees, some shipping and gift wrap credits, and then my total. So if I click on that total, the $1,494, it's going to give me a further breakdown of what each of these means and where those charges came from. So let's take a look. So for that billing statement, you can see that I have all of these different orders. It gives me the product charges, the promotional rebates, the Amazon fees, and other. And then you can click on the total for any one of these individually, and it will break down even further so that you can see all of the charges per individual order. So one thing that catches a lot of people off guard is when they're looking at this and they see where it says promotional rebates. So if you look at the fourth item down, you'll see where it says the total product charges is $21. The promotional rebates is $446. And then if you look in that last column that says other, it's a positive $446. So these are Amazon's rebates. So it may be free shipping, it may be a discount, it may be something like that, but Amazon does not charge you for that. They don't actually take it out of your money, even though it looks like that. So what they're doing is in the promotional rebates, it's coming up as a negative, and then in the other, it's going back as a positive. So it's a net zero for you. So let's go ahead and look at that fourth line item to see that actual breakdown happening in the order details. So you can see here that we have it sold for $21. Then we have that promo rebate, which here is shown as a shipping rebate for $446. And then right below that, you can see it's going back as a positive for $446. So my net proceeds are still $21. So that promo rebate and the other did not affect me at all. Then you can see down below the Amazon pick and pack fee and then the referral fee. So you can see I have those fees, and because I'm a professional seller, I don't have that 99-cent per item fee. If you're using the individual account, you'll have an additional 99-cent fee. So you can see that what the change to my seller account balance is $15.44 positive. So that's what Amazon is paying me for this order. So let's take a look at that in comparison to the scanning app. Because like I mentioned, most of these fees are seen before we even buy the product, so there's no surprises. So I brought this product up on the Amazon seller app, and what I did is I took off the inbound shipping fee since that's paid up front. So I'm normally calculating it in when I'm making the buying decision. But because that has already been billed to my account when I'm looking at the order details, I took it off of the scanning app as well. And then I took out the cost of purchase because Amazon doesn't know what I paid for an item. So I'm just trying to show you that the net proceeds shown on the scanning app are exactly the same as what's shown when the item sells. So if I sell that item for $21, you can see I get paid $15.44 at the end. So looking at that statement again, I'm just going to go to the next section. So you can see here where it says shipping services purchased through Amazon. This is because I sent merchant fulfill orders. If you are not doing any merchant fulfill orders, you will not even see this section at all. It will just completely be gone. Okay, the next section is the selling fees. So you can see here it says the subscription fee, which is $39.99, and then the FBA fee is at $53.41. So the subscription fee is my professional seller account, and this is billed once per month. So the billing statements are every 2 weeks. So sometimes you'll see the subscription fee of $39.99 and other times you won't. The same thing goes with your storage fees. Those are only processed once per month, so they may be on a different billing statement than your subscription fee like mine is. So I'll show you both. So here where it says $93.40 for the total, that's clickable, so you can see a breakdown of each of the individual fees that you've been charged. So if I click there, I'm going to see that I have my subscription fee of $39.99, and then I'm mostly getting inbound shipping charges. I'm going to look at a different statement just so you can see one that has the storage fee on it. So you can see here we have a storage fee of $10.02 and then another inbound shipping charge. So this is sending products into Amazon. There's a couple more things shown on this statement here, so we'll go over those really quickly. The first one are the refunds, which is if Amazon has refunded any products to customers, that's going to show up here. So this one shows 0. And then the last one is other transactions. So this could be things like reimbursements. It could be other miscellaneous charges from Amazon. So for this particular one, it's a positive. So it's actually reimbursement for Amazon, but you could click on that total and see exactly what those breakdowns are as well. So that's a pretty quick summary of fees and viewing your statements on Amazon. So again, make sure to look below because there's going to be a lot more information and a lot of links that you could get more information about fees. And this may be something that you want to come back to after you've started selling. I just like to give it to you up front so that you have it before you start sending in products and, buying stuff. You want to make sure that you know what the fees are going to be up front. So that's it.